Greetings and salutations, I am RKDM, the weaver of tales, conductor of heroes and villains, challenger of norms, master of dungeons, and keeper of secrets. Today, I challenge you with a conundrum as old as the game itself. Welcome to Russell's unsolicited opinion on everything. Have you ever stood on the precipice of good and evil, pondered the perplexing nature of alignment, and questioned the very fabric of morality in the realm of Dungeons and Dragons? Brace yourselves, my friends, for we are about to embark on a short journey into the maelstrom of alignment, where definitions blur, philosophies clash, and the battle between right and wrong is forever in flux. I am the sage. I am the dungeon. Welcome to the intricate maze of D&D morality. Confused about alignments in D&D 5e? Of course you are. There's the good, there's the bad, and there's sometimes just the plain ugly. Today, we're not embarking on a journey through the bewildering terrain of alignments from lawful good to chaotic evil, and everything in between. Each a world unto itself, each as baffling as the next. Nope, that has been done to death. Nope, instead today we are going to dissect the alignment system and consider things at a more philosophical level. Do share your thoughts in the comments if you have a unique insight or perspective. If you think I've missed the mark, or if you have a different interpretation, I eagerly await your wisdom, so that we can all explore these nuances together. And heed this ominous warning. Every time you neglect to subscribe to this channel, another baby owlbear, or potentially a druid from Paramount Studios, succumbs to a tragic fate. Yes, your inaction seals their doom. But you can turn the tide by simply clicking the big red button and ringing the notifications bell below. The fate of the baby owlbears is in your hands. Now, in order to dissect this system, I'm going to begin with a full-on, full-frontal assault on the words themselves. Chaos and law. Now, I'm actually okay with chaos and law. They are fairly robust, self-evident, universal, consistent truths. Everyone is somewhere on a sliding scale between those two poles, and I will wager that changes continually, depending upon the time of the day, or the day of the week, or which side of the bed that you got up on. Criminal psychologists use these fairly objective terms to describe people. Serial killers are categorized by the FBI into organized and disorganized killers. I don't think that anyone is really going to argue with the chaotic and lawful aspects of the D&D alignment system. The part that, in fact, was lifted by Gary Gygax from Michael Moorcock's The Eternal Champion, which I've not read, but to which the additional complexity, or is it oversimplification in a roundabout sort of way, of good and evil were later added. These things get irreversibly muddy as we step over Friedrich Nietzsche's dead body beyond good and evil. Now, D&D proposes within its cosmology the concept of elemental evil. Now, this sounds very cool and carries a great deal of pathos for storytelling. But let me ask you a question. Do you consider what Hitler or John Wayne Gacy, Jeffrey Dahmer, or Pol Pot did to be evil? Were these people evil? Yeah. Is that evil with a capital E? That is to say, super evil? Like as in the plane of elemental evil kind of evil? Supernatural evil, like the evil came down from the sky and made them evil, so they did evil things because of the evilness of the evil. I don't think so. So you might have heard of the problem of evil, for it is indeed a problem, but the problem might not be what you think it is. You see, when we go labeling Hitler or Jeffrey Dahmer evil, especially with a capital E for evil, we are taking all of the responsibility off of those individuals and assigning it to some nebulous supernatural force. What we're doing is we're saying, we cannot understand this, so we're going to assign it all to the evil, the one label that we have that means absolutely nothing. We can completely write them off to insanity or powers beyond our comprehension. The evil made them do it! Right. The evil made them do it. Of course it did. Now, this has a couple of effects. Not only do we take responsibility off of those people, but it also weirdly glamorizes them. Further, it takes the responsibility off of the society, parents, and people who created them, and it makes a scapegoat. Now, I think it's fair to say that Hitler didn't start the Holocaust because the evil came down from the sky and made him do it. He did what he did because he was a maladjusted, power-hungry, sociopathic, murderous, racist, self-centered, malignant, malicious, vicious, violent, discontent. All words which have actual, specific weight and meaning, with value attached to them. Words that we can deal with. The magic evil from the sky, or the plane of elemental evil, did not come down and say, Dharma, fetishize and eat corpses and human parts. But now we get into the nature versus nurture argument, and the alignment system leans heavily towards nature, leaving very little room for a character's experiences to shape them. Not only that, but once you have an alignment, you're stuck with it pretty much. Changing your alignment in D&D is usually a pretty big deal. A character seeking redemption is a powerful narrative, but the rigidity of the alignment system does not lend itself to that sort of character growth, unless you mean acquiring more ways of using violence to solve your problems, which walks perilously close to being the underlying premise and central lesson of D&D if we're not careful. So the next issue that comes up from the use of this term evil is that now we have labeled someone or even a whole group of people evil, we can feel completely justified in punishing them and or wiping them out like cockroaches. Their pain and humiliation now mean nothing to us. We certainly don't believe that we have anything to learn from them, let alone examine what actions we as a society could have taken to prevent them from having become in the first place. We might not be able to understand why someone is a violent sociopath, but if we don't try, we learn nothing. But D&D is a story, I hear you say. It's a game. We're here to have fun. Besides, we need monstrous entities whom we can blame for our problems. Otherwise, how can we justify running around with swords and fireballs, committing heinous acts of violence and murder and not feeling bad about it? Well, that's true. How will there be any drama if we don't have good and evil? Well, let me tell you a little secret. Writers and actors do not use the alignment system. In fact, they don't use anything like it. I'll tell you what I learned from acting school. Do not judge your character. When you assign an alignment, especially an evil one, to your character, you are judging them from what you presume is an objective point of view. But there is no objective point of view. There's only prejudices, social accretions, cycles of violence and trauma. Assigning an alignment flattens your character into a two-dimensional cardboard cutout, and it removes any capacity for you to be able to play your character with any depth or humanity. And that is the worst sin, because now you're fucking boring. People are complex, emotional, and shaped by their lives, their families, their history, their cultures. It doesn't matter if you're a goblin or a variant human, to use a rather problematic term. The evilness of a villain is not about magically evil force from the outer planes. It's about a poor child that was subjected to so much abuse and trauma that their mind snapped. Show me an example where that's not the case. What I am not going to do is to seriously consider the idea that the evil gods of evilness get to carry the responsibility for them. This is our unconscious, predatorial, bestial, back-brain shadow instincts looking for an excuse to do our violence, because it is in us. All of us. And that's something that we need to integrate and accept within ourselves, because if we don't, we can be overtaken by it unaware, and that becomes a problem. Now, getting it all out in a role-playing game, I suggest, is a much healthier way to know thyself than going all Jeffrey Dahmer in real life, huh? But wait, there's more. So, the final and most concerning aspect of all this business of evil is that it is a political word. It is a call to action. It is a kind of call to a sort of holy war. It plays on our egos. It suggests that we are indeed righteous and divine powers of justice, and that now is the time for us to exercise our divine retribution. You are with us, or you are with the goblins, those evil goblins. This is a word that is used to inspire, justify, and wage wars. And those of us who have done any research at all have probably learned that wars are generally fought by young people in order to win wealth and power for old men, with stakes in the game. So please don't be naive. Not only is evil superfluous, because there are 100 other words that specifically describe people's actions, but it is in fact a dangerous word because it can easily be used to manipulate and control people en masse. Law and chaos, okay. If you must have an alignment to know how to play your character because you forgot to create a backstory with enough emotional clout to explain your character's actions, because if you truly believe that evil is a real thing, I'm concerned. It's arrogant, it's ignorant, and if there really is a force of evil in the world, it is ignorance. So, at this point, you are either cheering me on with 100 other reasons and examples of why evil is stupid, or you are dumbfounded at what must clearly be demonic possession, because, I mean, why else would anyone try to dissect evil and abandon the idea? Maybe I am evil, or maybe I'm just playing the devil's advocate. Perhaps the elemental evil with a capital E is making me do it right now. So next time you want to play an evil campaign, or you're just looking for some evil monsters to kill, all I ask is that you think about it, because I promise you, by moving beyond good and evil, your role-playing will improve exponentially, and you may actually learn something about yourself and the human condition. And despite the cries from the peons for my execution for defiling their so-called fun, I'll wager that the fun is much deeper and resounding when death and violence carry gravitas and meaning in your game. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed this little rant. I'm RKDM, and if you like this content, I'd appreciate a like and subscribe if you can just motivate your hand to make it click over there, or two, maybe over there. But remember that if you do subscribe, you might need some anti-evil conversion therapy to get the evil out of your bones.